We're about to start another legislative session. In some ways, it's going to look a lot like the last legislative session. We've got the same governor coming back, the same lieutenant governor coming back, and it looks like probably the same speaker, this time for his 5th term. There's still a philosophical difference of sorts between the House and the Senate, although the ideological mixes of the two bodies is about the same. The Senate's a little bit more conservative, anxious to pass an aggressive conservative agenda. The House has been a little bit more deliberate in the last couple of sessions, a little bit slower with some of these things. And Greg Abbott in the middle as governor gets to score their papers at the end. The agendas as we go into this session, some of these are familiar. The Texas budget will be at the top line. Not as much money is available this time as was available 2 years ago. That's largely due to a decline in the oil and gas business. Things aren't going to be bad, but they're going to be tighter. So legislators are going to be saying no a lot more than they were a couple of years ago. Another thing that a lot of people have talked about is what the changes at the federal level might mean at the state level. Things like the Affordable Care Act that Donald Trump has said he would like to repeal and replace. Border security, which he says is the federal government's job and which the state would like to get out of. Chances are fairly small that the federal government will move quickly enough for the state government to make changes before legislators leave on Memorial Day. So expect to see, in spite of all of the talk, something like the same kind of programs coming out of the state government that you saw 2 years ago. There are some issues that are really important to legislators as they begin the session. Some problems in child protective services at the state level have prompted all 3 of the state's top leaders to say they need to jump in, put some money into the care of abused and foster children in the state. And House Speaker Joe Straus has said he wants to undo cuts that were made to in-home therapy for disabled kids in Texas. So those are a couple of issues that are at front and center as lawmakers start. Greg Abbott's main issue, again, will be a convention of states that he wants to form in order to amend the federal constitution to give more power to states, a little bit less power to the federal government. Joe Straus wants the House to work on infrastructure, public schools, and some other issues. And Dan Patrick has a list of almost 3 dozen bills that he would like filed by the Texas Senate. He would like to address school choice, kind of a modified voucher program, property tax reforms that would limit the speed at which cities, school districts, counties, and others could raise local property taxes, and a raft of other issues that he would like to get through the Senate, on through the House, and to the governor's desk. Finally, we have about 20 weeks to go here. You start on January 10th with a legislative session that ends around Memorial Day. As always, it'll start a little bit slow. You'll wonder what they're doing. It'll accelerate at the end. You'll wonder why they're going so fast. And about the time you crack open the hot dogs and beer on Memorial Day, they'll be gone.